Welcome to the NBC podcast. My name is Dietmar and I'm a member of the Miami Business Club. I'm here today with Stefan Lingmert, our founder and president of the NBC. And together we have the pleasure to be in the offices of our very own mayor of Miami Beach with Stephen Miner. Thank you for hosting us here today. It's a pleasure. Stephen, it has been a little bit tricky to set up this appointment, and I'm wondering what you're doing as a mayor all day. What keeps you busy?
No day is ever the same. Sometimes you get asked, "What's it like to be a day in the mayor?" I did a Facebook post about it once, but every day is different. We're a dynamic city, and one of the greatest international cities in the world right now in Miami Beach. So there's no day is typical, but yes, it's a lot of it's answering constituents and doing that. Some of it's drafting legislation, some of it's media related, and sometimes things come up out of the blue. Sometimes they seem minor. Like last night, I was dealing with an issue. A lane was closed that I was driving by, and it didn't look like it was necessary. I called the city manager. I'm like, "What's going on?" And they sent a crew out to remove the barricades. So it's never ending.
I love that. It's so many different facets of your work. And now I'm wondering, how do you balance your private life with all those work commitments?
I don't sleep much. Yeah, so I joke at term limits. We have term limits, which is a good thing, and I joke around that after I'm turned out, then I'll get some sleep. But I look at the opportunity that I have as being the mayor of this incredible city. It's things most people would only dream of, right? So I'm energized every day. I come in. My team tells me that all the time. I come in, hop it in, and ready to work.
Your energy is infectious. So I appreciate it. And Stefan's like, yeah, the mayor is coming to NBC. He's always excited about it.
Yes, totally. Yeah. And you've been so supportive over at the Miami Business Club. We do these monthly events, and over here on the beach, you always show up, which has been amazing.
Well, you do a great event. I always say, and I say when I speak, the vibe is tremendous. You get a great crowd. You could feel the vibe in the room. You always let me speak. So
Of course, you never heard that from us. Appreciate it. So the first time you came was, I think, November 23, and it was like a week before the election, and it was really raining a lot. Remember this? It was raining a ton. And Joe Magazine, which is a member of the club and a good friend, he brought you to the event, and we always stand up on a chair when we speak. So we stood up on a chair there, and
so we didn't do it this past week though.
no, we didn't have to, I guess. But and then you won the election next week, which was amazing, and you've been so supportive, which has been amazing. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the job as a mayor. You support those because so much of what makes us successful is obviously the private industry and people just doing what you do, right? And obviously, I want to be supportive of that and lend any hand I can.
But also, I think your style as a leader has been very accessible for people, right? You are on to events, you dedicate a lot of time to meet people. It's important. We all appreciate.
It's a big part of the job. Absolutely.
Stephen, before you became mayor, what did you do?
I'm an attorney. I'm a practicing attorney, and I still practice.
And you have 3 kids, right?
2 kids, a son and a daughter, and they're awesome. I even asked them before I ran this time. I actually said to my daughter, like, "You sure? Like, we should discuss this." She's like, "What is there to discuss? You're going to run again?" I said, "Well, I'd be home more if I wasn't the mayor." And she's like, "No, you're amazing, Dad. I see you're home a lot. No, you're good. You're good."
Well, the great support from home. That's amazing. Right. Well, from lawyer to mayor, right? What was your motivation in the first place to run from mayor?
So it's a great question because if you told me, I would say about 8 years ago that I'd be the mayor of Miami Beach or any city, I would have told you you're crazy. It wasn't even on my radar. So first-hand commissioner, I was commissioner for 4 years, now mayor almost 2 years. And it was a slow process. I actually initially wanted, I live in Mid Beach in Miami Beach, and I felt there wasn't as visible a police presence as there could be or should be. And also the lighting wasn't that great in my area, especially along the commercial corridor of 41st Street. So that was my initial foray, and I just tried to get done. I started reaching out to commissioners. I started going to meetings, and I couldn't get anything done. But I kind of got the bug in me. I started going to more meetings than this, and partly I'm very motivated, and I got to get this done. And ultimately, I decided the only way I'm going to get it done is to become commissioner. And that happened. Actually, my first item was to add the lighting on 41st Wood. And then I extended that in areas of South Beach. I've done it in the North Beach. It's a big issue to me. And the police visibility, police engagement on not only the cars, but also the visibility of seeing the officers. So that's something that carried with me. And I had a great term as commissioner. And I felt like, not, it wasn't so much that I could win. Obviously, I felt that, but that to get to that next level of what I wanted for the city, I needed to be the mayor.
So it seems like it was a natural evolution for you from commissioner to mayor. And you told us a little bit about your achievements as commissioner. When you're looking back and your time as mayor, what do you view as your key achievements over the last couple of years?
Yeah, there's several. Spring break probably being the most prominent. Very proud of that because it took a lot of steps, which many people may not realize how it evolved. But I had put on legislation requiring our city to take basically 16 steps. And my colleagues all approved it, and there was some good input from my colleagues as well. But ultimately, I had put forth that, which we had not had before. So now we gave a legislative blueprint for our city. I also reached out to the governor and asked for resources, which had not been done before. We hadn't had state resources. Reached out. They sent us for the 2 biggest weekends 46 state troopers, and that's in addition to our Miami Beach police, county police that we had. But it made a huge difference. And we sent out the message. We had a great marketing campaign breaking up a spring break. So people knew we were serious and that we were going to enforce the law. And it worked beautifully. And actually, what you've seen the last 2 years is not only don't you have the chaos and the sort of stampedes and the violence that we had seen in the past, you're seeing families come out in replacing that. Residents that used to leave during spring break stay put now. That's a huge success. But in addition to that, it's our major crimes are down. Our homeless numbers are at historic lows. And we're also helping the homeless, but our numbers are again our historic lows for Miami Beach counts. The police visibility, very proud of those measures, but also we've had a lot of infrastructure projects that were stalled for so long. We've jump started those. I've been working on a comprehensive water taxi that I really envision not only to Miami, but north and south throughout Miami Beach. I've been working on that for even when I was a commissioner. It's getting close to becoming a reality. So yeah, all of that, very proud of, and seeing our businesses succeed. Our hotel rate for a while, for the last year or so, is the highest in the nation. Our occupancy rates are either number 1 or number 3, depending on when you look at it. So our resort taxes are up. So a lot of successes in Miami Beach. And I think in general, if you ask people around the country, where is the place to be? Miami Beach is maybe number 1 or certainly high up on the list.
100%. And I guess if you go back and talk a little bit about spring break and the business community, has there been some growing pains? Because obviously if you shut down the beach, some local businesses might complain a little bit, and then, but obviously if you have safety and a new crowd is coming, but perhaps in the transition period, there'll be some issues. Is there anything there you can address?
Yeah. So overall, what's interesting is the business community has bought into what Miami Beach did. I think there was a recognition that this had gone too far and too long, and that it was hurting our brand. And in the big picture, even if they were going to take a bit of a hit for a couple of weekends, it was overall good. What's interesting is most businesses, not all, some have told me that they got a little bit hurt, but most businesses have told me they actually did the same or better because now people felt safe. But that if you look even the couple of months after spring break in March, April, May, June, they did much better because we didn't take the hit in the brand. So overall, it's very, again, there's always going to be exceptions. Yeah. But by and large, very, very positive feedback that we got from our businesses.
And do you think those businesses that complained this year, you have a plan for them maybe next year?
Yeah, there's a few tweaks. Like there were some areas we had barricades up that maybe we can take those down to help them, the businesses. Some businesses, there were some parking restrictions that could hurt them. We're trying to tweak that. So there's things we can do at the margins, but overall, my impression is that people, by the way, if you look at our hotel rates, through the roof in the month of March.
I think we all agree, we have to have a safe place to do business, right? So yeah, that's key. If your neighborhood is not safe, then there is no business and there's no people want to live there either, right? So key, that's the base you have to start from.
I've always maintained, and I use the term law and order a lot, which some people were taken aback when I started using that instead of public safety. But it's obviously helpful for our residents, but it helps businesses big time because people, I mean, just look at other areas of the country where law and order is broken down, businesses leave, they shut down, shoplifting becomes a major issue, and that's not something we tolerate here.
Basically.
I was hanging out with some friends a week ago, and one of the friends, unprompted, he talked about how U.S. mayor shut down spring break, and he was very positively talking about it. It's like it's so much more enjoyable. The city feels more safe. So really good feedback.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And I'm also excited about it.
For sale. And even Memorial Day, which we have the RNC show, which has been happening for several years. It's getting better and better every year. It was a huge success. And what's great is you go out there and what you see is families and people enjoying strollers, people roller skating.
Maybe there you could talk a little bit about what you're doing for fitness. The city wants to be a blue zone as well, but also like we had High Rocks Championship that came to town. We got the volleyball. There's a lot of fitness going on, or sports.
Palooza.
Yeah. That now it's there. Yeah. The fitness competition. And instead of having the parties, that kind of direction is probably a better direction for the city, right?
I think so. And there's some level where we're always going to be we're a beach town. We're always going to have it that sort of nightlife, and there's nothing wrong with that. But obviously, we don't want the any violence associated with that in anything. So that's where we're transitioning, or we're doing a successful transition. And certainly, fitness is a way to go. It brings in some great energy. Obviously, economically, it's a benefit. Sure. Yeah, we have the Muscle Beach in South Beach, which is a huge success, and we keep expanding it because
The volleyball mats takes over the other bladder. Absolutely, which is great.
Looking at all your successes over the last couple of years, when we're looking forward ahead, what do you see as your main priorities for the city of Miami Beach?
law and order is always going to be number one. And it's funny. I actually had some residents recently say to me, like, "Man, you've done a great job at the police visibility, but maybe it's too much." And I'm like, "Wow, that's like the ultimate compliment to me." And to me, it's not too much because you want people not only to be safe, and that's reflected in the good crime numbers and crime going down, but you want people to feel safe. They're almost sometimes two separate things, and we're doing that. People feel safer, it's cleaner. So that and you can't let up on that, because once you let up on public safety, law and order, it will go downhill. So that will always continue to be sort of the baseline. But there, like I mentioned, the water taxi, but it's also using our brand to promote us to that next level. Even, I mean, we're literally at the top of our game now, but the sky's the limits right now, not only nationally but internationally. For what our brand, we have I'm looking straight out. We have the convention center hotel that's going to be coming up, which is going to bring an elevated events to our convention center, but it's also going to reverberate throughout Miami Beach, specifically Lincoln Road. And we're already hearing that there's interest from businesses because they know that every night there's going to be 800 rooms filled right next door.
And when is it done?
And it's going to be done at the end of 2027.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's 2 years, and you can see they're making pretty good progress. They're going to get it done.
And Miami Beach is kind of famous for like conferences and events, and Miami in general. What kind of events are coming up? I know the World Cup. Are we doing anything on the beach for the World Cup next year?
Oh yeah, we have a tremendous amount of events going on here. Obviously, Lummis Park is sort of the picturesque scene of Ocean Drive. So yeah, I mean, the beauty is the games itself for FIFA will be held in outside of Miami Beach, but Miami Beach is always going to be the center of the events and the.
We got to do viewing, big screens.
So I'm, a lot of it's still in the works, but absolutely, yeah, it's almost like a once in a lifetime event. We've had Super Bowls here, we've had college, the Orange Bowl here, but FIFA takes it to another level. There's a lot of soccer fans generally, but certainly our Hispanic community, we're well represented in so many Argentinians, Colombians, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but
We got the Europeans.
the Europeans too. That's true. Yeah, that's true. But the excitement level is going to be through the charts, and obviously, what we're gonna benefit big time here in Miami Beach.
Can I volunteer?
You're looking for volunteers next year. People can, if someone wants to volunteer for doing events, where can they reach out?
Okay, let's you reach out to me, huh?
Steven, you mentioned about our brand, Miami Beach. It's international. I'm wondering how Miami Beach can evolve in the future, like 5, 10, 15 years. And I've been looking at, for example, Paris. Could that be possibly an example for us here, where in Paris, citizens have voted to ban cars from certain areas or streets? Is that something that Miami Beach can more evolve into?
Sure. And we've looked at Lincoln Road, which is our main pedestrian mall, but that's been that way for some time. We've more recently closed down parts of Espanola Way to extend it. So that's and eventually we are looking at potentially connecting that more. So that would be seamless. Ocean Drive, obviously very talked about. We had during COVID shut it down to vehicle traffic. We right now it's sort of a hybrid. It's one way to vehicle traffic, but the rest of the street is pedestrianized, and there's a bike lane, which I think is a nice hybrid, at least right now. And it's a great vibe. So it was a Monday night, and I said, you know what? When I'm leaving here, instead of just going home, it was late. It was after 9. Late for me, I guess, in the sense of being out. I'm up late working usually, but I drove down the length of Ocean Drive, and every restaurant I saw was packed. The outdoor seating, and it was great. I'm like, this is a Monday night at 9 o'clock, and it looked to me like almost every seat was taken.
And I guess with Miami growing and tourism, infrastructure, what do we have for plans there? I heard something about maybe we do the water taxis and stuff. Is anything in the works?
Yeah, so that was something. There's been some water taxis in Miami Beach, but in my opinion, it was the wrong model. They were private enterprise, charging what I viewed as an exorbitant fee, $15, $20, $25. It's just that's not sustainable. Nobody's gonna take that. To me, the vision had to be more like a trolley on water, which it's either free or virtually free, and that was my vision. But also, everyone had always looked at the water taxis going just to Miami. To me, it had to transcend all of Miami Beach. And so basically, if you're on South Point Park and you want to get from First Street to 41st Street or 71st Street, that you could just hop on a taxi, water taxi, and that's the beauty. It's taken a while, but it's taken a lot of work by me and our city. But we're getting really close. We actually put it out for bid. We had a bidder. It's actually the one who the water taxi operator of Los Olas. They are we're in final negotiations. It's happening. It's a reality, and that's the beauty of seeing things that you worked on so hard that's actually going to happen.
How many people do you think you can move? Is it a substantial amount and alleviate traffic?
So I think that I can mitigate traffic a bit. I don't think it's going to be the end all be all. Certainly the volume of cars. By the way, it's been a lot better recently. I drove down last night in the heart of rush hour down Collins Avenue going south, and there are times in the past it could take you an hour, and it took me 3 minutes. Now we're not full in season yet, so but we've done a lot. There's a lot of things that I've personally initiated in initiatives and our city in general to try to alleviate and mitigate the traffic. It's a difficult issue. Just the volume of cars is great, but I'm hoping they're successful. But I think certainly the water taxi can help us. But
Steven, sea level rise. Let's talk a little bit about that. How is that being viewed? What are you doing? I believe there's some longer term plans. Can you fill us in a little bit on that?
sure. And that's partly what I was mentioning before. We had some projects that had been stalled for years on West Avenue, in South Beach by First Street, and those have been jump started. And I give myself some credit, but I give our commission as a body credit. We're looking, for our residents and what's important to them. And we're able to get past a lot of the sort of the political infighting that happens with these projects. One of the issues, and I actually, as even when I was a young commissioner, I called myself a baby commissioner at the time. One of the things that I had seen and was holding up these projects is how much do you raise the streets? What happens is when you do it in a residential area, residents, rightly so, get concerned because if all things go well, it's great. The streets are raised, the water's pumped. But we all know technology is vulnerable. And if something goes wrong, the water is going to go run downhill onto properties. So inevitably, residents get very concerned when you raise the streets too much. I think what we've done is we've kind of found that happy medium. We'll raise it a little bit to accommodate, but also recognizing that the streets somewhat may be have some water. We'll try to. We have pumps, we have drainage, but we're also going to protect private property.
I remember 10, 15 years ago, it was very different. You know, a lot of floodings here, and then we had the big construction on both West Avenue and Alto.
Yeah.
That really helped. You know, raising the corners really helped.
Yes, it's helped. It's helped a lot. It's there are certain low-lying areas that are still vulnerable, but what we do is we actually recognize those areas and try to get temporary pumps there when we're expecting heavy rains. Where we still have a ways to go, and we're working on it, but we've definitely made a lot of improvements for sure.
What's your favorite spot in Miami Beach?
I love Lake and Rose. Well, I love the fact that you just walk. I mean, you have to the cross streets, but generally you don't have to worry about the cars. There's a good vibe, good restaurants there. I'm actually my family and my son in particular, we love to see the movies, so we go to Regal out there. So love it. I live on 41st Street, which is also great, and it's actually 41st Street is going to get its facelift and about $20 million that we're going to put into there. So yeah, there's the beauty of our city. It's almost like three. I've heard people say this, and I agree. It's almost like three different cities. You got South Beach, Mid Beach, and North Beach, and they each have their own character. And I love each one of them, and I try to spread myself out around the each because I go to, like you said earlier on, I go to events everywhere.
But even South Beach has kind of different areas too.
Yeah,
South of Fifth, right?
And
Baker Road and Ocean Drive.
yes, and one of the things we haven't talked about, but our vast array of parks in our city, and we'll keep opening more. We open up Murray's Gibb Park. We have Bayshore Park that's going to be opening up next month. And I mean, I actually spent some time recently in South Point Park. It's funny. I was walking around. It's like, when I lived in Manhattan for a little while, a long time ago, but Central Park, obviously being a gem. And I'm walking around South Point Park. I'm like, this is our Central Park. This is a magnificent park, but also Flamingo Park, right? Flamingo Park as well.
Or yes, amazing.
Yep. So we're really blessed. The Parks Department has a stat which is incredible that 98% of our residents live within a less than 10-minute walk from a park, and sometimes more than one park, which is great. I think every great city has to have that accessibility, and it helps with the health and wellness, fitness.
Park a lot. Summer runner, right? So I do a trap. I love a trap.
We recently made sure we didn't have the fire station by the, which by the way, I had always opposed, even when the prior commission had passed that, I was not a fan of it. And luckily we corrected that. That's great.
So what are the hardest part of the
Politics? So there are times that I'll literally walk down the street, somebody will stop me and say, "Thank you so much, Mayor, for helping me out." And I'm like, it's almost like I got to jog my memory. But there's so many, literally every day, there are things that we are helping people that is never going to be in the press. It may not be the biggest thing, but for that person, I recognize that if a person is reaching out to me, it's important to them, and they probably reach the end of the line. Most people don't reach out to me, the mayor, as the first recourse. They've tried other measures, and they're coming to me, and being able to help them is great. And obviously, there's the big legislation. One of the things that I haven't mentioned yet, but we have our prosecution team on misdemeanor crimes, and several years ago, we were not prosecuted, but it was hard to know that we didn't keep the data. We didn't keep it, and I forced our city to pull that data, and it was abysmal. We were an 8% success rate. Think about that. You arrest 100 people, and 92% are just walking out with no consequence. That number is 92% now, but that took legislation on my part, which our commission passed, and basically implementing a set of steps and policies to ensure that these cases, and by the way, a lot of it, we're helping people. We're getting them drug tested. We're getting them the help they need and counseling, but at the same time also enforcing our laws. So that's really satisfying when you can see the fruits of your labor. And instead of seeing people arrested 10, 15 times, that's not happening anymore. When you walk down the street and you see lights in literally every part of our city, I have legislation that brought these lighting initiatives, whether it be on palm trees or other types of lighting. It's just a great feeling knowing that you're impacting your community and residents are benefiting from this.
Yeah, and I agree. It's been you've been doing a great job, so we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Last topic, election coming up in November. Any thoughts on that?
What I tell people and tell my family, I'm confident. I feel good because the feedback I get everywhere I go is positive. But at the same time, I take it very seriously. Yeah, politics is, you can never take anything for granted. But I feel like the hard work that I've done, people see it. But ultimately, I trust our voters, and I'm very comfortable with the job I've done. I think you'll see me for 2 more years.